One just comment for the record, our materials for this hearing talk about preserving our veto at the IMF. We don't have a veto at the IMF. I talked to the number 2 over there, said could we prevent loans to or economic aid to Iran. He made it very clear that that was not the case. I remember when prior administration urged us to put more money in the World Bank because we had a veto there, that Iran got over $1 billion of loans from the World Bank over our objections. So we can devote more resources to the IMF, but we still don't get a veto over decisions to assist individual countries. I want to focus on currency manipulation. The administration wants to trust on and even fast track on TPP, but they told us they're not going to include currency manipulation in that. They've bought into, because this idea that if somebody in the world says that we're manipulating our currency because we have interest rate policies, that therefore we'd better not talk about the deliberate and true and actual manipulation of other countries. Every time I raise this question, the answer I get is, but China, as to why we're not sanctioning China for its currency manipulation, I'm told China is cheating less. And I haven't been married as long as many of the members of this committee, but I've been advised by at least a few not to use the line, but honey, I'm cheating less. The law is clear. If China is manipulating its currency, you're supposed to designate them. Other than the fact that that would make them really mad, and they are cheating less, why haven't you carried out existing law and designated China a currency manipulator?
Congressman, we have engaged directly with China in an aggressive way on this question of currency policy, and we've made enormous progress. And I think if you look at
getting them to cheat less, but you're not following the law.
Congressman, I think if you look at what the goal of the currency report is, we have put a bright light on practices that need to change. We have been aggressive in international bodies and in bilateral negotiations to push hard to get change. And with China, we've, in the last year, gotten some substantial recognition of that, both in terms of not intervening in the way—
Mr. Secretary, you're not following the law, but you have persuaded them to cheat less.
But Congressman, if I could say, the consequence that comes from the designation you're describing is an intensive consultation process.
What about the consequence to our constitutional system when the executive branch takes the attitude, Congress doesn't know what it's doing, so we're not going to follow the law? I would say the damage that TARP has done to our social contract, the damage that an attitude of we shouldn't follow the law because it will have bad consequences does to the nation's social contract is very significant.
I would just say, if you look at the record—
Mr. Secretary, I've got to go on to the next point. Last time and the time before that, I asked you to take a look at worldwide unitary so that we could finally tax international corporations in a fair manner. You asked me to talk to your Assistant Secretary for Tax Policy, and you told me that you personally would look into it. He said he wouldn't bother to look at it. He's too busy. So I'm going to stop asking you about it. But if we were serious about taxing multinational corporations, we would be looking at it seriously. We're told that some of the giant banks are too big to jail. We now had large financial institutions abroad conspire with U.S. taxpayers to deliberately, intentionally— this isn't avoid tax, this isn't loophole, this is just cheat on taxes, millions of dollars. But all of these people are really rich taxpayers. Are they too big to jail, too well connected to jail? You've been given the records of thousands of those who have conspired deliberately in a premeditated manner to cheat on their U.S. taxes. Is anybody going to jail?
So, Congressman, on prosecutory matters, we don't make—
Has the Treasury Department put together a criminal case? Have you called the Attorney General and said, you've got to give a high priority to prosecuting, because if we don't, our, quote, voluntary tax system doesn't work?
I think we've been clear that our policy is no one is beyond the law.
Yes, but no one's in jail. I yield back.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The chair now